What up, Huck Squad? Coming at you with a quick in the bag for this week's 3-Minute Thursday. The last in the bag that I did was almost a year ago, actually, when I broke my hand and I was only playing lefty, and I was going over what disc I was throwing as a lefty. So if you're interested in that, go back and check that out. But in today's video, I'm just going to be going through a real quick synopsis through my bag, and so let's get started right away. For my putters, I putt with D-Line P2s. These used to have the Huck Squad stamp on them from last year, but it's kind of faded away. You can still see it a little bit there. First throwing putter is my understable D-Line P2. I don't putt with this one, I only throw with it, and it is so beaten in at this point that it just flips up and goes to the right pretty much no matter what angle I put it on. Next I have the Exo Hard Link. This disc is great for those straight putter shots. They'll turn a little bit, but it'll still have some stability at the end. Next up is my S-Line P3X, and this one is for my overstable backhand putter shots. If I need to fight the wind, if I really need something trusty on a backhand putter shot, I reach for the S-Line P3X. Next up, I have both my harps. The blue one is a little bit more beat in, the pink one is a little bit more newer and a little bit more stable. For the shorter up shots that I want to really have that precise landing, I'll use this one. For the longer up shots or for the tee shots that I need a little bit more stability, I'll use this one. Discmania's kind of version of the harp. I picked up a Razor Claw, actually. Thank you, Simon, for this Razor Claw. But it's kind of Discmania's version of the harp. It's a little bit more stable than my pink harp, also because of the premium plastic compared to the BT hard plastic. But I really like the way that it feels in my hand. It feels just like a harp, and I'm hoping that this can eventually replace the harp, especially if they release this in like a baseline plastic. That'd be awesome. Next up, I have a new addition to the bag. It's actually a Prodigy disc, and it is a Tour Series disc of my friend Nate with a nice Mario stamp on it. It's an M4. I've only thrown it a couple times. I used to throw an M4 way back in the day, and it was a super straight flyer for me. This one is actually a little bit more stable than I expected. I'm gonna drop Nate's Instagram tag somewhere here. I think he still has like 20 of these discs available in different molds. So if you're interested in a Prodigy disc with a cool Mario stamp on it, definitely hit him up. Next up is my straight flyer mid-range, a Marshall Street flat top KC Roc. Perfect for that straight, a little bit more distance than my putters, that straight backhand shot. I don't really flick mid-ranges, so I wouldn't flick this, but it's perfect for that straight, really trusty backhand shot. My first driver is my old school FD. Kind of doesn't have a stamp on it anymore, but it's an S-Line FD. Perfect for those flip-up shots. It's getting a little bit beaten in now where it will turn a little bit and then come back, but it's perfect for those like 350 foot fairway shots. Moving up a little bit more into the Neo Instinct, which is also a little bit weathered at this point. It's a little bit of a step up above from this FD here. It does have a very similar glide, but it has just a tad bit more bite at the end. So if I need to throw it a little bit harder, or if I really need it to fade left at the end, then I'll pick up the Instinct. I'm really not confident in flicking my FD. It turns over a little bit too much, but I'm very confident in flicking the Instinct. It does hold that high speed fade, or high speed turn rather. It really doesn't turn too much, even when I flick it like as hard as I can with just a little bit of hyzer. Kind of a new addition to the bag. I did have this disc in my bag a long time ago, but it was an S-Line. This is in C-Line, and it's a C-Line TD, a turning driver. And this is perfect for that long tunnel woodsy shot that you really need to be precise, that you really need to throw it on hyzer and have it flip up and just glide the whole way. If you're looking for something like a 9-speed straight flyer right out of the box, flip up hyzer flip disc, definitely check out the TD. Maybe my favorite disc in the bag, C-Line FD3. I have had this in the bag for a couple years now, and I have a couple different aces with it. I've aced hole 9 blue to white and hole 10 white to blue at Borderland, both with flicks. I only have 3 forehand flick aces, and so I'm looking to get that backhand ace sometime soon. But FD3, perfect for flicks, trusty in the headwind. I couldn't say more about the FD3. I really don't backhand it very often. If I'm gonna backhand like an overstable driver like this, I have a couple different options, but for a flick, if you're a flick player, you have to pick up an FD3 and just give it a try. Moving up to a new release from Avery Jenkins, the Dark Maul 2. I did a review on this a couple weeks ago, and this is kind of like my backhand version of my FD3. I can flick this, but if I need to flick like a overstable kind of like 10-speedish driver, I'm gonna use the FD3. It's a 9-speed, but I'm gonna use the FD3. It's great for that flick. This is great for the backhand, so I kind of have both molds dialed in for flick and backhand right around that speed range. Alright, next up is my PDX, and I actually don't throw this very much. I got it from a good friend named Dave, and he actually gave it to me in replacement of my very first Ace disc, which was with my PDX that I threw in a bunch of episodes ago. But I lost it at Maple Hill, and so he gave me this kind of as like a remembrance for that one. I don't really throw this very often, but if I need a really stable, trusty shot, then I'll grab this one. Alright, moving into my next disc, the Neo Enigma, which is my furthest flying disc in the bag. If I get a good lick on this thing with a backhand, it is definitely going like 425, maybe even 450, but there's nothing better than connecting with this disc and just seeing how it flips up and flies. Even on a flick for me, it is beating in a little bit for my flick where I feel like I'm gonna turn it over, but if I give it a good lick with a lot of hyzer, this thing is just gonna go forever. So if you're looking for like a new distance backhand disc, I would go with the Neo Enigma. It is just perfect. I really couldn't say more about it. Anyone who watches any of my videos has seen me throw this yellow Star Destroyer a million times off the tee. I flick this thing, I backhand this thing. Really, this is one of the workhorses of my bag. I throw this thing so many times, at least like 5 to 8 times off the tee per round, most likely. So a Star Destroyer, probably like over a year old at this point, super beat in, but still super stable. Great for flicks, and just one of my most productive discs in my bag, honestly. And lastly, I replaced my PD2 with a Cloud Breaker. It's very stable, and it really dumps to the right just as a PD2 would. And my old PD2 was kind of going a little more straight than I wanted it to, and if I threw it in a major headwind, it really didn't bite as hard as I wanted it to. But this Cloud Breaker is so stable, like unbelievably stable. If I flick it, it's pretty much fighting out of the angle right away. And if I backhand it, I can't even really get over on it. It's just gonna die left. So everyone needs a super overstable disc in their bag, and for me, the Cloud Breaker is that disc. So that was quick. It was a little bit more than 3 minutes, but I kind of tried to sneak it in there as best I could. Hope you enjoyed this little 3 Minute Thursday, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.